Hello, my name is Jose Gomez, DevOps Solution Architect at Nutanix, and in this video I'm going to show you how to integrate Nutanix Calm and Ansible. On part 1, we will see how to manage the inventory in Ansible. Let's get started. The first that we need in Ansible is an inventory. We will use that inventory with Nutanix Calm. Let's create that inventory. I'm logging to a new Ansible AWX. Ansible AWX is the upstream Ansible tower. You can use either for this demo, Ansible AWX or Ansible tower. Let's create our inventory. We click on inventories and let's add a new inventory. I'm going to use the name Calm and save. We will need the inventory ID to reference later on in Calm. We can see the inventory ID on our top bar. In this case, the ID of the inventory is 3. Let's move to Calm. Here in Calm, the first that we are going to do is to upload a Nutanix Calm blueprint. The blueprint is available on the GitHub repo. The blueprint, you can see here, it's called Calm Ansible integration. Let's download the blueprint. Once we have the blueprint downloaded, let's upload the blueprint to our Nutanix Calm project. We click on Upload Blueprint. We search for our blueprint and we give a new name and select the project. The blueprint has already all the required integrations to add a host in an Ansible inventory as well as remove the host. All those tasks can be found on the GitHub repo. You can see here all the different tasks that we will use. So the first that we need is to provide the credentials for our blueprint. We need a credential for the operating system. And in this case, we can use even a new user. We can call it Ansible. And we will give a new password. We will require the credentials for our Ansible AWX instance. And we click Save. You can see that the error just disappeared. Let's continue. This blueprint has one service. In this case, we are doing infrastructure as a service with a single VM. And this is a CentOS VM. On this service, on the CentOS OS, we have created 3 actions. An action to add the host into AWX, another action to remove the host when we delete the VM, and the last one is to add the host to an Ansible group or groups. If we have a look to the add host action, we can see that that action has a single task. And this task is a EScript type of task. And we are using the set variable type. If we expand, you can see that this is a Python call that we are just calling our Ansible AWX API to add this host into the Calm inventory. The same you can see for the other task. For the action delete host, we have also a single task. And the same for the action add host to groups, a single task. All those tasks are available on the GitHub repo. Before we can launch this blueprint, we need to provide some input. Let's move to the application profile. On the application profile default, you can see that we have 2 variables that we need to complete. The first one will be the IP address or URL of our Ansible AWX instance. In my case, awx.ukdemo.local. And the second variable that we need is the inventory ID. In this case, I need to replace the value for 3. That was the ID of the Ansible inventory that we created, named Calm. Let's save. In this blueprint, we are not only adding the host to the inventory, but also we have the opportunity to add the host to different groups in Ansible. Before we can add the host to the groups, we need to have those groups created in Ansible. Let's see here, we click on the service, we go to the service tab, and we need to complete what are the groups that we want to add this host when deployed. Let's say that this host is going to be a Linux group, and also it's going to be a web server. So we need those groups in Ansible. Let's create the groups in Ansible first. Click Save before we move to Ansible. Let's go to the Ansible AWX. We have the inventory. We click Groups. And now in Groups, let's add new groups. The first one is going to be Linux. And the second one that we can add here at the bottom is going to be web servers. Now you can see that we have two groups, Linux and web servers. If we go back to our blueprint, let's just to double check, we have Linux and these web servers. Let's click Save. Now we can launch our blueprint. Click Launch, provide a name of your application, and click Create. Now, Nutanix Calm will start the provisioning of a CentOS VM on Nutanix AHV. Once the VM has been provisioned, Nutanix Calm will continue with the API calls to Ansible AWX. With those API calls, we are going to create the host in Ansible AWX and later on add this host to the both groups, Linux and web servers. If we click on Audit, you can see that the process has started. The process will take about 5 minutes. As you can see, the VM has been provisioned. Now we are on the next stage where we have added the host to AWX. You can see here the API calls. This host has the ID 24 in Ansible AWX. The host has been added to the groups, host added to Linux, host added to group web servers, and the deployment has finished. Now, if we move to Ansible AWX, let's have a look to the inventory, Calm. Let's click on Host. You can see the new IP address of the host that we deployed, as well as the both groups, Linux and web servers. Now we could continue with the deployment of a web server on that VM, but for the purpose of this first demo, inventory management, we are going to cover only the inventory part. Let's now to delete the VM and let's see how the VM get the commission on Ansible AWX. Nutanix Calm provides an entire lifecycle management of your application, from day 1 provisioning to day 2 operation management. That ensures that your assets, in this case, will get deleted from Ansible AWX, keeping consistency on the assets that you have on your data center. Let's see the process on audit. the delete process has started. On package and install, we have run the action delete host, and the delete host action has been deleted. Let's have a look to the Ansible AWX. If we refresh this view, moving between groups, for example, and host, you can see that the host has been deleted. This is all for the first part of this Calm and Ansible integration. Thank you for watching.